Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope all of you and your family members are keeping well. Today I have come up with a new video tutorial where I'll be explaining about Sonar Scan and its integration to the Sonarcloud using AWS Code Pipeline and Github. There are a few videos which I have shared to my channel which talks about Sonarcloud, SonarCube and its integration with GitHub Actions and all those things. But in this tutorial, I'll be specifically talking about AWS Code Pipeline and GitHub. You know, of course, SonarScan and its integration with SonarCloud, but using AWS Code Pipeline and GitHub. So that is the key point here, and that is what we'll be learning in this tutorial. Right? The additional components that I'll be covering as part of this tutorial would be AWS Code Pipeline, code build, error faced during the setup, like whatever the challenges I have faced while creating this application. I'll be walking you through about all those challenges so that uh, you may relate that while doing the setup from your end, if you're doing for your project, if you face that specific problem, right? So it's always good to have such challenges, so that in case, as I said, in case you come across that challenge, you can refer to this video. And fourth, we'll be discussing the E2E workflow once setup is done, and then what is the final outcome. What is not covered in this tutorial is code artifact, code deploy, and code commit. Now, these are the developer tools or steps that are provided by AWS as part of code build. So, we'll be discussing about, will not be discussing about these specific three uh, components, but we'll be discussing about the code pipeline and code build. And lastly, just a note, this is just for learning and development purpose. If you want to achieve the same for production environment, make sure that necessary standards are being followed, considering security, naming convention, and all those things, right? And if you need any help on that, you can directly contact me. I have mentioned the contact details in the README. So without wasting much time, let's discuss these necessary steps that are needed to achieve this objective, right? So for that, I'll go to the README, and if you look at the README, I mentioned the prerequisites, right? The first one says we must have the AWS account with the necessary permission. So for example, now if you're doing this for learning purpose, then of course you can create your own AWS account and then proceed. And the other possibility would be, let's say, in your project, right, in your office or in your company, if you're added to the AWS account, then make sure that you have the necessary permission. Or either you can ask your admin to do the necessary policy or role creation to achieve this specific setup, right? So, and then the second step is we'll be adding a few secret managers, few secret variables using AWS Secret Manager service. I'll show you how we can do that. Third, I have provided this sample app. I mean, created this sample app. This is nothing but a copy of the one of the existing publicly available Sonar Cloud project that I have created. So I have just copied that whole source code and placed it here because I don't want it to spend much time on that, right? Because as I said in this tutorial, the objective is to see how we can perform the Sonar scan and integrate that result to Sonar Cloud using AWS Code Pipeline and GitHub. So that's our main objective. So you can clone this repo. Again, this is publicly available. I'll just show you the link. This is the link, and I have mentioned this in the README as well. So you can go to that link, download the source code, and play with that. Fourth, make sure that AWS Code Build is set up. If you're new to this, don't worry. I'm going to uh, show you the exact step that I have followed to achieve this specific result. Fifth one, we have to set up the code pipeline as well. And once everything is done, again, if you have already logged into the AWS console, fine. Just search for that specific code build project and run the build. That's all. And if everything is done correctly, then you will see the successful result and a project created within the Sonar Cloud, right? And this is how it looks like. So if you see here, right, I have already, okay, I haven't logged in. If I log into the Sonar Cloud using GitHub, So this is my personal GitHub account. As soon as I log in with GitHub, you'll see that there is a project created. If I go to my projects, you can see that Sonarcloud AWS CP. CP is nothing but it represents code pipeline. So this one is created today, 18th October, as you can see. What I'll be doing is basically I'll be deleting this so that you can see once I run the build, the same project should get created within this Sonarcloud, right? So that will be our end result. So first let me delete this. They have changed the layout, so I'll have to just find a way how we can delete this. Administration deletion, yeah, and delete this project, right? So to proceed, please type the project name. So I'll just copy this project. Yeah, done. Now you shouldn't see, yeah, as you can see, that project has gone, right? Now once we run that build, that specific project again should appear here, and that will be our end result, which is the last step. So let's again revisit what is the first step. AWS account, we must have AWS account, and uh, as you can see I have already logged into the AWS account, and I'll go to the home page so that all of you can relate exactly if you log into the AWS account how it would look like. So this is the home page, and as you can see all the recently visited services are appearing here, and the first thing would be for us is to set up the code build. So either you can search the code build service and from here, or if you have already visited to this, you can find it from here, right? So I'll just search it from here and navigate to code build. If you click on code build, and if you haven't created any code build project, it will show you a home page where it will explain about the code build, like what is code build, what is the purpose of code build, and you will find a create a code build project, right? So I have already created one, but still I'll show you what all steps I have followed to create the code build. And what is code build? Now I'm not going to cover all this code build, code pipeline in detail. Instead, I'll be showing you what exactly I have done in order to create the code build project. If you need any more information related to code build, or basically related to code developer tools of all these things, let me know. I'll create a separate video for all those things, right? Because the objective of this tutorial is something else, which I have explained in the beginning. So if you click on create build project, right, we'll have to fill the necessary information, for example project name. So I'm going to add the AWS Sonarcloud AWS code build project, let's say 1. I'll just add this as a description, right? 1. I'll keep this as it is. Now if you look at the source, right, as I mentioned in the beginning, in our case source would be GitHub, but you will see many other options like Bitbucket, GitHub Enterprise, GitHub. I don't see GitLab and all the other details, so it seems like those are not supported. So but anyway, we are interested in GitHub, so I'll select GitHub, and as you can see there's an option to, there are two options, right? Repository, public repository, or repository in my GitHub account. So I'll select repository in my GitHub account, and then we have to pass the uh, repository link. So I have created one which is SonarCube AWS code build, and this is publicly available. So I'll select this, and as you can see, you are connected to GitHub with using OAuth. If you are doing first time, right? Uh, Let me do it for you so that when you're doing first time, you'll see how exactly you have to do. So just click on connect to GitHub, and if you click on connect to GitHub, it will open a pop-up page. Just confirm it. Basically, you are saying that okay, you can access my GitHub account, right? I believe there is a bug, so first time it won't work. Again, click on connect to this and then click on confirm by saying processing OAuth request. So as you see, right, still it's saying okay. Just cancel this and then yeah. See, I mean you might face the same problem. So challenge is like cancel it and then open the second time and then click on confirm. So as you can see, it is connected now, right? So again, source version and all those things, I'll keep that as it is. Git clone depth and all those things I'll keep as it is. uh, I'll be keeping everything as it is. Now it is saying managed image, right? So what will be the environment image? So I'll select Ubuntu, because make sure that the setup that I have created, right? Basically this app, I'll be coming to this build spec, but here I'm using like apt get update and all those things. So make sure that you are selecting the Ubuntu, because uh, with this operating system image, these commands will get executed like apt get update and all those things. If you're using Linux platform, then probably you'll have to change this command. So I'll be select, because initially when I selected Amazon Linux 2, and it was throwing error like apt get command not found, right? So I'll have to change that to Ubuntu, because that is specific to operating system platform version. So I'll be selecting Ubuntu. Runtime, I'll select the standard. Image, I'll be selecting the latest one. And then I'm saying always use the latest image from this version, for this version. And as you can see, like there are few others as well. And then keep everything as it is. So these are like created by default. And then additional configuration, it says VPC and all those things you have to connect. So this is the critical part, and this is I have mentioned in the README as well. This is one of the challenges that I have faced during the setup. So error was code build cannot find this destination for the target internet gateway. So the point here is, I'm sure all of you are aware of the like VPC and in situ instances, servers, and all those things. I'm not going to cover those things in detail, but I'll just quickly cover the basic concept, right? So with the so VPC and subnets, all these things are part of your networking, correct? So so whenever we create any server, so EC2 instance, we say we are creating EC2 instance. What is EC2 instance? Basically, it is a server where your application will be run. So AWS is giving you a platform or option to create a server. That is nothing but you are basically creating an EC2 instance where you can deploy your application, and then you can access it. And how to access it and all those things, you can manage it. Like it should be publicly accessible within your VPC accessible, all those things you can manage it. So here also, basically you are telling your code build or AWS code build, hey, go and pull the source code from public repo, from your public repo, uh, where you have done the authentication, right? If you scroll up, you have done the authentication. Now how AWS code build would know now where to clone this repo? Basically it will be cloning and keeping it somewhere, right? And all these things are managed. If you look at and or study about code build, all these things are managed things, managed process or managed service. We don't have to do anything explicitly, right? So everything is happening behind the scene. But what is happening is it is cloning the source code and it will be keeping somewhere, right? What is that somewhere? That somewhere is nothing but one of the platform where it will clone the repo and it will keep it for you. Now, in order to clone it, you have AWS has to connect to uh, internet, right? And now in order to connect to the internet, there are like several steps to there will be several steps needs to be followed in order to connect to the internet, get the source code and download it. And for that we have to select the VPC. This is one of the way. You set up the VPC, make sure that you create the internet gateway, NAT gateway and all those things, and then you select those details here. I have already done those settings or configuration, and hence I'm able to do it. But initially when I was doing it, I was facing the challenge. I'll show you that challenge as well. So, if you click on this, right, if you see here, I have created one VPC, which is Sonarcloud CB VPC, like code build VPC. This is the custom VPC which I have created. And if you look at this, there's a brief description. It says select a VPC that your AWS Code Build project will access. And from this VPC, right, VPC, as I said, it's a kind of virtual environment where everything is going to happen behind the scene. And from that virtual environment, if it has to connect to the internet, how it can connect to the internet? For that, you have to do some sort of configuration or setup, right? And then it says subnet, like subnetwork. Again, you know, if you click on, while creating VPC, right, there are options. If you select VPC and more, everything will be created by AWS automatically. And as part of that, there will be two subnet created, one private and the another one would be public. So here we'll have to select the private one. Okay. And then security group. So all these things I have created, as you can see, the custom name. And as soon as you select this, right, there's an option to validate VPC settings. So either your VPC settings are configured or set up correctly or not. How will you do that? So now there's an option, you can validate your VPC settings. If everything is set up correctly, you'll find a success message. I'll show you what exactly that message would show. It will show that it is ready to use and it is able to access the internet, something like that. Those sort of message you will see here. If not, then you'll see the different message with different message, something like this: code build cannot find these 000, basically the default IP address with a destination for the target internet gateway. So in my case, it would be success, I believe. Let's test this. Yeah, VPC with this ID has an internet connection, right? So if all the setups related to VPC are done correctly, then you will see this message when you click on validate VPC settings. Else you will be seeing this error. So make sure that VPC settings are done correctly. Again, if you need any other or further help on this, let me know. I'll create a separate video for that. Okay. Because again, that will take more time to, if I go in that direction, I'll be taking more time. So I'm assuming VPC settings and all those things are done correctly, and you'll have to just choose from this drop down. You have to select the VPC, select the subnet, and select the security groups and all those things. Now we have the VPC set up correctly because it has the internet connection. If it doesn't have the internet connection, it won't be able to download that source code from the internet, right? I'll show you what exact error message you would see if this is not set up correctly while after running the build. And finally, everything leave as it is. I'm selecting build specification as a use a build spec file because I have already created one build spec.yaml. So it will look for that file. And what else? I think that's all. And I'll click on create build project. Okay, it is saying that this service role name already exists. So okay, let's select role 1. Okay, create build project. It will take some time. Yeah. Yeah. So you have successfully created the following project, right? Project 1, and this is what we have created. Now if you go to build project, you'll see two now. One is this, one is this. So before I go into this one, I'll explain you or show you the error that I was getting if you don't set up the VPC correctly. So let me show you one of the builds where I was facing the error. So build history. Yeah. So if you see, right, the recent one are succeeded, status as succeeded, but before that there was a failure. So I'll open one of these. So let's say I'll open this one, a new tab. And you'll notice that the specific error, it is throwing a specific error, that is unable to download the source code from the GitHub. Now you'll see the error message like that. So I'll quickly show you. So if you go to page details, you'll see the exact steps, which gets executed as part of the build process. So you see this, right? Error while running this command. Okay, so this is different error. So there's a download source. So this is a stage where you know build was failing for me because VPC setup was not done correctly. So let me see if I can show you that as well. I think this will have that specific error. So this error is fine because that was related to sonar scanner was unable to. I mean, sonar scanner was not available, and hence I was getting that error. But the error which I'm talking about is, see, it was trying to connect to GitHub, it was timing out, and finally it was saying download source failed, and all these things were happening because VPC was not set up correctly. Right? So make sure that those setups are done correctly, and if everything is done correctly, you'll not see any error. So I'll come to the code build projects. I think I have this list here, right here, and then go to code pipeline. So I'll come to code pipeline now, and if you see the code pipelines, you should see one here. Code pipe Sonarcloud is AWS CP. I'll create one. Again, if you're coming to code pipeline first time, you'll see the uh, brief information about code pipeline, what is code pipeline, why do we use it, and all those things with video and everything. And similarly, you'll find one create code pipeline project. So just click on that, and I'll say Sonarcloud AWS Code Pipeline Project 1. It's the role name. I'll keep this as it is. Advanced setting. Let's see if I have to make any other change. Again, this is the bucket, so I'll keep this, everything is as it is. Now I'm not going to do any other changes. And then I'll see source provider is GitHub. So version 2, connect to GitHub. I think I already created one, so it is, I'll just change that to app 1. If you're doing all this setup for production, right, make sure that you add tagging, you add tags and all those things, and you name all these app name or connection name properly, right? So make sure that the project wise, whatever the standards you guys are following, make sure that those are being followed, and then simply connect. Sorry. Yeah. Again, this is the GitHub profile name that you would see as soon as you connect with your GitHub account. It's ready to connect, so ready for use. Select the repository name. I'll select this one because I have allowed only this one. So if you're doing the first time, right, it will ask you to select the project name, and this is the only project or repo I have selected from my GitHub profile. Branch development, start the pipeline on source code change, and all those things. Next, build provider you'll have to select. So I'll be selecting the AWS Code Build, and Mumbai location I'll keep this as it is. So this is the project, right? You are seeing two projects which I have created. So this is the first one that I have created, and this is the second one which we have created as part of this tutorial. I'll select this one. There is no environment variable in this project, but in your project or repo that you are going to perform or scan, make sure that if you have any environment variable, those are being added here. Deploy provider. So I can skip deploy stage because in my case there is no deployment procedure. But if you are going to deploy your source code or those changes, make sure that you add the deployment. So like there, I'm familiar with Elastic Beanstalk, S3, and Cloud Formation. These three things I'm familiar with. But in this video tutorial or in this specific case, we are not going to do any deployment. So we'll simply skip this. I'll click on next. So everything is done. Now you just say create pipeline. So as soon as the pipeline is ready, we'll simply run the build and we'll see if Sonar scanner result is getting performed or not. Right. So it says it is ready. That list should appear. Yeah. See, uh, it's saying execution in progress. And once this is done, it will start the build. And since this is happening, I'll quickly show you the secret managers that we have to set up, right? So just search for secret manager from the service list, secret manager. If you remember, right, if you go to readme, I mentioned in the second step, I have mentioned that we have to add these secret variables. And these secret variables are nothing but, if you look at the name, right, sonar token, which is needed for authentication. Host, in this case, we are using Sonarcloud, so Sonarcloud will become our host. Organization, again, whatever the organization name you have created within the Sonarcloud, and what is the project name that you want to display in your uh, Sonarcloud app, right, as part of your project list. So by default, it takes the repo name as a project name, but if you specify anything else, it will override with that name. So just click on Secret Manager. I'll open this in a new tab. As you can see this, right? So first step says like download the source code and all those things. And second step is build. I'll take you to the build step as well. But before that, let's look at the secret manager that we have to set up. So again, if you come to this page first time, it will give you the brief information, what is secret manager, what all things you can do it and all those things. And then simply click on this, store a new secret. For this, as you can see, I have created one as local sonar. If you click on this, you can reveal the value, right? So this is a project name, basically the tag that I have added. And then rotation I have disabled. Make sure that these secrets, those things are discussed with your team lead or whoever is your technical person before doing all these setups for production. So as you can see, it shows that yeah, retrieve secret value. So if I click on this, you can see what all secret key and value I have set up, right? So as you can see, the organization name, I'll show you, where exactly it appears in the Sonarcloud. Host name, this is the host name. Since it is a managed service of SonarCube, so now you can simply set this as a host name. And this is the project name that would appear in the project list. And then this is the Sonar token, which is needed for authentication, right? I'll be probably removing this token. Otherwise, if anyone can use this token to use this specific for this specific exercise, anyone else can also use this token. So basically, I'll be removing this so that my Sonarcloud account won't be misused, right? But I'm just showing you how these secret values are being set as part of the secret managed service. And now let's go back to this one, right? So if you see here, let's refresh these build projects. So it's saying in progress. So let's see what is happening here. If you just open this in a new tab, you'll see the steps. What all steps are getting executed, as I showed you in the existing build project, where it has like queuing, provisioning, and then downloading source, build steps, and all those things you can see as part of uh, this one. So click on this build run and you'll see the page details. So click on page details. So if you see here, right, submitted, queued, provisioning, and download source is failed. Let's see what it is saying. It is saying, okay, so this is one of the error which I have faced, right? It is saying secret manager error this um, is not authorized to perform secret manager get secret value on source, right? So this specific role doesn't have access to fetch the secret from the secret manager service. So what we have to do is, now let's go to IAM, search for IAM. Basically the role that we have created as part of setting up this build code build project, right? That specific resource should have access to fetch the details from the secret manager, and that is what it is complaining about. This I have faced in the beginning also, so it's good that I'm seeing it now. So that's been covered now. So what I'll be doing is I'll be basically looking for this role, um, this role. So if you go to, so you'll see the roles list here. So under that role, right, we have to add the necessary permission policy. So click on roles, and if you search for that, sorry, if you search for that role, as you can see, this is the role which we have created, role 1, right? Click on this, and then as you can see, these are the two policies that are being attached while doing those setup. So click on add permission and attach policies. Here search for secrets, sorry, secret, right? So it's saying secret manager. For now I'm going to, it has like many other information, so for now I'm just going to map it all, but make sure that you are giving the necessary permission, or sorry, required permission only. It is just saying get secret value, so it is just looking for the get secret value, nothing else. I'll just attach this policy. This is saying policy was successfully attached to this role, right? And as you can see, that specific policy is appearing here. Now if you come to this build, yeah, everything else is fine. Let's go to this build, or basically either you can simply run that specific build or come to pipeline. It is saying failed, right? So click on this and it is saying delete this pipeline, right? Or release changes. So everything, as you can see here in detail also. Now this specific step was fine, succeeded. Here it has failed, and you can see all those details. Before I retry, I'll show you. So it says view in cloud, sorry, code build, and that is what we have seen here, right? Just keep refreshing. If you refresh it, it should say failed. Yeah, failed. Now let's say if you want to see the detailed log, why exactly it has failed and all those things. So click on this, sorry, not repository, click on this, and then if you go to build logs, and if you click on view entire log, it will take you to the CloudWatch, and through the CloudWatch you can see the detailed description about the steps that are going to or getting executed behind the scene. So I'll quickly show you that as well, because that is very helpful during the debugging. So if you click on build run, so view entire log, right? Although you can see those log details here, like it says, right, secret manager and all those things. So from here also you can get the details, and you can also find the details from here as well. So again, as I said, all these things are managed. We are not doing anything manually, right, except setting up those VPC. That also you can do through CloudFormation, but here I have done it manually. uh, so as you can see, log groups and everything is created manually, sorry, automatically by AWS. I haven't done anything, manually. So let's look, yeah, look it for this one. So as you can see, right, download source failed, client timeout, and all those things you can see here, right? And if you expand this, it is exactly showing the same error. Right? Get secret value doesn't have this permission. So this specific role doesn't have the policy to get the secret, and now it shouldn't throw that error because we have attached the policy. So now let's come back to this. Either you can run the retry the build from here, right? So let's retry. As soon as I retry, it will start the execution, and you can see that details from here. So if you refresh it, it should show in progress. See, in progress. I'll simply delete all these things, and now if you go to the, yeah, so first one has failed. Now it has started the second build. Click on this, and then if you go to page details, you can see everything, like what all steps or yeah, what all phases it will go through, right? So first one is submitted, queued successfully. Now it is going to do the provision and all those things. So if I understood it correctly, provisioning basically, I think it will be creating the necessary instances within that VPC and all those things. It will be downloading the resource set. It will be performing the scan, and how you know AWS Code Build will know what exactly needs to be done, right? For that, as I showed you, this is the build spec file is needed, and this is going. These are the steps that are going to be executed behind the scene as part of the build steps. So this is very minimalistic or minimum uh, configurations that I have created to achieve this result. So first one says like set the environment. So I'm saying secret manager, and these are the environment secret manager property that are needed to perform the scan. And from where to get the value, it's saying like, okay, sonar is local sonar. If you remember, this is the secret manager name that I have created from this within the secret manager service. So what is the property name or secret key name? Sonar token, host, organization, and project key. These are the four secret key that I have created, right? And these are the property, and these property will be used as part of the build commands. As you can see here, as part of the uh, pre-build, what I'm doing is I'm downloading the Sonar Scanner CLI. I'm basically unzipping it, setting up the environment variable, and as part of the build, I'm starting the Sonar Scanner, right? So in my local, basically, this is how I used to run the Sonar Scanner or perform the Sonar Scanner result. Uh, yeah, so it is taking a bit time. So as soon as you run the Sonar Scanner, you pass the login, host, project, and then organization name, right? So login is nothing but the token that I have showed you. So simply run this, set this command, and then it will automatically get executed behind the scene. And if everything is successful, you will be seeing that project mapped to the Sonarcloud. So if you look at this, right, I used to perform the Sonar scanner like this, right, from my local system. Since Sonar scanner is downloaded in my local, I've set up the map the environment variable, and I'm able to run the Sonar scanner command. Similarly, whatever I'm doing in local, I have to do the same thing in my server, right? So for that, I have just followed these steps, like download the Sonar scanner, unzip it, set the uh, environment variable, and as part of the build, perform the perform the scan. And if everything gets executed successfully, you would see the output. See, everything got succeeded. Now, if you come to here as part of your pipeline, just sorry, not pipeline. If you come here and if you go to project list, you will see that succeeded as a final status. See, succeeded. Now if you go to as an end result, if you go to your Sonarcloud, right, and if I refresh this page, as you see here, that specific project is not listed here, but now if I refresh the page, I would see that specific uh, project appearing here, right? Sonarcloud AWS CB. So let's refresh this page. Yeah, see, bingo. Sonarcloud AWS CP, and again same thing from here onwards. They're like, I've already published all the videos like how to read all these results and all those things uh, using Sonarcloud and with SonarQube both. So again, rest everything I think all of you are already familiar with. So if you go to main branch, actually they have changed the layout. Whatever the video I have published it earlier, in that layout is a bit different. And as you can see, one security hotspot being caught, because that is what present in the code, right? App name, it says like there is a chances of security vulnerability, but priority is very low. I mean low. Again, you can, this guarantees that scan is happening, and it is result is getting published, and same thing is being integrated to the Sonar cloud, and that is our main objective is. And as I said, I'm not going to discuss all these things like how to read the scan result and all those things in detail. If you need any further video, simply follow the other video channel video which I have published. There you can find all those details. So just to summarize, what we have done is, I'll come to this note, right? So as I said, I was having the AWS account, so and with the necessary permissions. So first I have set up the secret manager with these secret keys, because these secret keys were needed to perform the Sonar scanner, and those secret keys needs to be set up as are added as part of the secret manager within the build spec file. And then we have created the code build. And how to create the code build? So for that we have to simply search the code build from the AWS console. Click on this, it will navigate us to the code build project, which is nothing but this one, right, where we can see the list of build projects that we have created. And then we have done the necessary setup to integrate or authenticate the GitHub, so that we can fetch the repository that are needed to perform the Sonar scanner, where we'll be performing the Sonar scanner basically. So after doing all those setup, we have selected the VPC, subnet, security group, and all those things. Then we have validated the what do you call VPC settings, if it is correctly mapped or not. And if it is correctly mapped, it will show that VPC with the ID has the internet connection. And then finally we have done the created the build project. And then later on we have switched to code build. Again, for code build also, you can find within the uh, code build, code pipeline. Within the code build you can find one of these stages here. So either that, or you can simply search for the code pipeline from the AWS console also, right? And if you click on it, it will navigate you to the code pipeline, and then see create pipeline. This is the page I was talking about, getting started page. But we have already created one, so click on pipelines. You can see the list of pipelines here, right? And this is also now succeeded. So you can, again, here also we have done the authentication with GitHub to fetch the projects that are needed, right? And then we have mapped the code build as part of this. What we haven't done as part of this is we have skipped the deployment part. As I said, deployment part is not in the scope of this specific tutorial. Again, if you need any further help or a new tutorial on that, please let me know. I'll be happy to create that. But I believe there will be on many other videos available over YouTube, about all these things. So you can go through that, right? So we have created code pipeline, and once everything is done, we have run the pipeline. And then we have noticed that it was throwing the error where it was unable to get the secret manager. So it was throwing 400 error code. So for that we have looked for that specific role, and we have noticed that secret manager read write or basically read, I think ideally we just need the read policy where we have to get the secret value. That specific policy needs to be mapped, and that was missing. So we have come to that role and then looked for that role from the search bar, and then we have clicked on this add permissions drop down to attach the policy, and we clicked on that attach policy and then looked for secrets, and then we have simply attached that secret to the specific role, and post that we have rerun the build, and then we have the successful result here. And finally we have that scan result, or sonar scanner result got executed successfully, and then that specific project is appearing as part of the Sonarcloud, right? So this is the quick summary. Okay, of course, detailed explanation and all the detailed steps I have already explained. So you can go through these videos again and again to see if you are missing anywhere or missing steps anywhere to while doing the setup for your project. This is all about for this specific video. If you need any further help or any assistance, I'll be more happy to help you. Just leave a comment or drop an email or just contact me through this specific link, right? So simply go to contact page, you can add your details here, and then just leave a query what exactly error or details you need from my end. I'll be happy to help you, or you can simply leave a comment over the YouTube also. Before I end, I'll quickly show you the VPC setups that I have done. I think it might help you. If you're already familiar, you can simply skip this part. If not, then I think this will be helpful for you while doing the setup for your project. So again, look for the VPC from the AWS console, and as soon as you click on VPC, I'll close this now. So this is no longer needed. So as you can see, the list of VPC would appear here, and then I'll quickly show you how I have done the subnet creation and all those things. Sorry, I haven't created the subnets explicitly. As I told you, when you create a VPC, right, there are two ways. So if we click on VPC, you'll find two VPCs created. So this is the custom one that I have created, Sonarcloud codebuild VPC. So if we click on create VPC, there are two options: resources to create, VPC only or VPC and more. So I would suggest click on this thing, VPC and more, so that it will help you to it will allow you to create the public and private subnets, right? So as you see here, it says number of public subnets, number of private subnets, NAT gateways, VPC endpoint, and all those things. Otherwise, you have to do all these things manually. If you simply select VPC only, right, you have to create the subnets, you have to create the what you call NAT gateway. Sorry, NAT gateway anyway you have to create explicitly. You have to create the router link and all those things manually. If you select VPC and more, everything will be taken care by AWS. And once you do this, right, you'll see that VPC list here, this one, right? And as you can see, the routing table, all these things are already created. And if you go to this is, ignore this one. This is the older one, and I have opened that. Now if you go to subnets, you'll find two subnets. See, Sonarcloud. So basically wherever you see the name, right, I have created it manually. So one is public, one is private. I think I have selected 1 and hence it created 1 because for this specific, I guess 1 was sufficient, and hence I had selected only 1. And now if you go to internet gateways, so you have to create the internet gateways, and there will be one NAT gateways. Again, read about all these NAT gateways, internet gateways, and all those things to understand or to have the depth understanding. How this VPC, like if VPC has to talk to internet, to the outer world, how it will connect. So there are way to do that, right? it is not like if you simply create the VPC and everything will be accessible. No, not like that. There's a right way to do it, and everything is handled by AWS itself. It's just that we have to do the right setup. So you create the NAT gateway and then map the subnet. See, all these things I have mapped it. So when you click or create NAT gateway, right, it will ask you to do all those things mapping. So don't worry about that. And if you have done all these things correctly, automatically all those created components would appear in the drop down, right? So if everything is done correctly, and whatever the VPC you would be creating, that VPC, if you remember, right, while creating the code build, we have selected VPC. So that VPC would appear there, and there you have to select the private subnet and then security group. So this is what I have to show you for VPC. If you need a detailed video on this, let me know. I'll be happy to create a separate video, and then you can follow this to create this setup. I'm hoping you won't face any issue, because if you are at this stage, I'm assuming that you have the detailed context about all those things, and if you have these details available, then you have to simply focus on the code build and code pipeline, integrating all those necessary setup or configuration, and finally running the code pipeline. And as an end result, you would be seeing that project appearing in the Sonarcloud. So with this note, I'll be ending this tutorial here. I'm hoping that this tutorial someone would find very helpful, specifically who is looking for this specific tutorial. And as I said, if you need any further help, I'm just a mail away or a phone call away. Just let me know over the comment or through my contact page or through this platform. I'll be happy to reach out to you guys and help you out. Thank you so much. Take care.